So what's going on, Shadow Fight gamers out there? It's Boss the Modern right here, and if you happen to click on this video, well, congratulations, you entered a video where this guy is trying to be explaining everything essential that you need to know about the Shadow Fight tree right here, which will be including the movesets of the Shadow Fight tree, as well as equipment showcasing and perks, because perks are important if you want to turn the tides into your own favor. So without anything further to say, if you're new and don't know that much about the game, be sure to stick around to know some more, because this video is intended to get you guys oriented with the Legionary faction and as well as other factions that are coming by. But we're starting with the Legion, and if you're new and if you're already experienced with the game, if you're well experienced with the game, you can always get back. You're still welcome to check out and revisit what it was with that and that faction, what moves that they do. Highly recommend it if they watch the video. Still, let's get down to it. So Legion, by a general explanation, is a European fighting style faction with strong heavy armor and heavy kicks and slashes with weapons, all dealing brutal damage to the enemy. Some of the attacks are unbreakable, which I will be covering real soon. Now let's showcase the equipment of the Legion right here. This is the current equipment. This is the equipment that you can collect. And as you can see, for me, this is the bummer is because I don't have every single equipment, but that's not the most important about it, because I don't have every single perks in the game. So when it comes to special moves, I may want to reference some of the special moves that I don't have with a video and give credit to that guy in whose video I borrowed for the sake of explaining as much as I can to you guys about the whole entire moveset as well as the perks that we're going to be explaining right now. So now I just gave you a quick glimpse of the Legionary wares as well as ranged weapons and the weapon itself for its own corresponding set. Let's get down to the abilities, and also you might notice that these have some specific title icons, and those are the sets that you see exist in the game, and they give you an extra advantage that you can use along with your perks to build a deadly setup. Let's get down to the Legionary abilities and see what it is, starting from the rare. So you can also see the icons of the special moves in this section right here. I don't know if that many people are well aware of it, but if you're new, now you know. So let's get down to the abilities that the Legion has, which is Electroshock, that reduces the defense of the opponent if you get hit. This is also wearable for helm and armor. We also got Shielding, which increases your defense whenever you get hit. This can be worn in the armor as well as the helm. Then we have the Repeller, which is to increase your damage after a block. So whenever you do a successful block, you get to do higher damage on your next attacks. And then we have Revenge, which is to increase your damage if you happen to receive a hit. It's the revengeful spirit when you get knocked with it's the revengeful spirit when you get knocked with a critical hit, and therefore want to get back at them with a strong blow. Then we have the Iron Grip, which is the feature that makes this game unique from most of the fighting games out there, because in this game you can play with your bare hands or with a weapon. But if you play with a weapon, at some occasions, if you happen to get hit on the head or get thrown down, you will hear a special noise in this game, and you will see a text in the screen called shock. And when that happens, you lose your weapon. But with this perk, you won't lose your weapon, and there's a good chance that you don't lose your weapon. And when you don't lose your weapon and you have shock, just gotta look after the perk that you just equipped onto your weapon right there. It's a really good perk if you're tired of losing your weapon. A really good counter to one perk, which I will be explaining in the two other factions. You can already guess what it is if you're new. This can equalize one special perk. But let's get down to the other perks that we have for the Legion. Epic perks, Bleeding, which is to drain the health of the enemy, but not of the full attack damage. This drains the health of the enemy of a good portion of your attack damage. And lifesteal, you can completely convert the damage that you've been dealing as healing for your own part. You can even emphasize that. With other offensive boosters, like damage boosting perks. Then we have Recollection, which is to get more shadow energy after getting hit in the head. And if you happen to get shocked or get the shock effect, then you will deal more damage with the Retribution. The Predator is there if your enemy is low to increase your damage, and Stone Skin is to increase your defense, actually just lower the attack damage with the health. It says 14% of my health in the textbook, my book right here. Steel Foot is to knock down your enemy with any kind of kick. Since Legion kicks are heavy and brutal and also slowish, then the kicks should be even stronger when you have this Steel Foot perk on. And then we have the Breacher, which is perhaps a nasty one, because Breacher can deal full damage through an enemy block. That doesn't mean the enemy will do a damage animation. They won't get damaged. They will block you. They will block your attack, but the perk will show, meaning that they will get the full damage even though they blocked. So it's a really nasty perk they can have right there. Moving on to the legendary perks, we got Shadow Burn, which burns the enemy's shadow energy. Really good for slowing down the game with the shadow energy just a little bit, and damage absorption to reduce a good portion of damage whenever you get hit by your opponent. This can be worn by armor and helm. You can even return your damage. This is a well familiar perk from Shadow Fight 2, which was from an enchantment back then, which returns whatever damage you get, portion of that back to your opponent. Not the full damage, you return a portion of that. Really good to try to even out the stakes if you get a lot of hits. Can be worn in helm and armor. And another perk to look after here is Rock, which is to withstand a critical hit without falling and thus reduce that damage with some portion, even good portion if you want to say it that way. And this is another perk that is familiar in Shadow Fight 2. Then we have two other brutally offensive perks called Berserk, which is to double your damage and also lose some of your health, and Basher to stun your enemy, and you will see them with a stun animation if you happen to hit them, and this Basher perk activates. Without anything further to say, let's get down to the movements and the basics of the Shadow Fight 3 and the Legion. Alright, let's get down to the basics of how to fight the Shadow Fight 3 game, because a lot of you guys who are probably watching right there, you are not that familiar with the game. But for anyone who are wishing to know about this, and anyone who are experienced and want to check out and revisit the whole entire book of Shadow Fight 3, this is the place that you might come. Because I don't know if any other YouTubers has actually tried to explain every single move in the game. So here we are. Let's start with doing this. Pay attention to the keypad as I'm explaining. So I'm currently walking forward, stepping forward and backwards, and it's just forward and backward. You can tap it, you can hold it, and you continuously walk forward or backwards. I just prefer to tap to get close to your enemy and anticipate an attack right there. We're going to just cover that small distance you need before you do an attack. Then we can double tap those buttons, forward and back, to dash towards, or if you want to do double tap back, to dash away from the enemy. Really good for covering range, to dodge, and to anticipate the enemy attack, or just go straight towards them and then do an attack right after. And if you have to stand close to your enemy, which is something people don't really do these days, you can get around your enemy by double pressing forward. If you stand on the close range and double press forward button, you get around your enemy. This is really good to switch positions, and if you don't like corner battles because you may get exchanged with a hit right there, if you want to prevent that, you can switch positions through getting around. And now let's do this. You can jump pressing the up button, and you can also duck with the down button right there, with the down arrow right there. The good thing about ducking is, with the duck, you can dodge an enemy ranged attack, whatever the ranged attack that might be. It's gonna go at you, but the game will automatically put you into a ducking position that will make you dodge that flying projectile that goes at you. Whether it's a gun, yes, there's a gun, and other throwing blades and shurikens. Yes, we have those in the game, of course. They will all be dodged. You can even roll towards your enemy, which is down forward, or roll away from the enemy, which is down backward. Down forward to roll to the enemy, and down backward to roll backwards away from the enemy. Then you can jump towards the enemy. You can jump towards the enemy right there, which is forward up to jump, because this is arrow, up is arrow, down is the ground. So therefore it would make sense. Jump towards the enemy, and if you want to jump away, just jump back. Jump forward, jump back, basic jump. Really good for dodging incoming rolling projectiles. You may see it coming, and when you do it right, you just done a really good achievement of dodging that rolling of projectile or whatever that might be a lower attack, and you can just jump to dodge in a good fashion. Another notable thing I want to explain about the Legion is you can wall jump in the game, but you can't do it with a Legion armor. And why? Because it makes sense. Legionary people are not practicing techniques that are for wall jumping, and thus try to do that with heavy armor would make them feel it's so heavy and make them rather like fall down like a rock instead of actually do a wall jump. Therefore, they have no wall jump. Another thing that we'll be discussing is it's coming back right later. I will get to it. Don't worry. But for now, we'll get to that second Legionary Essentials with the armor later. Let's do the punch. So this is basically pressing the punch button and you're doing a basic punch, smacking the enemy. You can even do the full sequence of the punch, just like this. The full sequence, bam bam. You want to say, hey, I want to smack you, and then you just smack your enemy. And if you want to do the full sequence, divide and decide what you want to do, whether you want to do this or the full sequence. Then we got the upper attack of the Legion. Unarmed. Remember, we're fighting without a weapon right here. So this is the unarmed attack of the Legion. Just gotta do right that, and I will be explaining that later. That is the upper attack. Now we're doing the lower attack of the Legion. So we did the upper attack right now. This is the lower attack, which is to down and press the fist button to do the lower attack. Then we got the back attack, which is to press the back button and the fist button to do the back attack. This can be divided to one punch right there, or both of the punches at the same time. If you want to hit with the full sequence, you have to stand really close to your opponent. But they are really good to do close by combats, although they start medium slow. But these attacks right here are really good for a little bit farther range. Right there. And yes, now I'm doing the strong kick. No, not the strong kick. The strong punch. The strong attack. Which is to hold the fist button to do the strong attack. Got it? Okay, good. Now, I'm just going to stand close right here and do this. So whenever you stand close, probably foot to foot distance to your enemy, you press forward and punch button, you press forward and fist button to do a throw forward. Really good to interrupt or just continue your combos when the opponent is lying down after you've thrown it. You can even do it backwards. Just press backwards on the foot to foot distance close by, press back and the fist button at the same time to do the back throw. Pay attention to the buttons. It might not show that well, it might not glow that well because I'm tapping really fast, but you might see the light blinking whenever I'm doing the moves. Be sure to pay attention to those if you want to learn those moves, because people are playing with the D-pad and it's easy to learn from there, but when I'm explaining right there, I want to explain it thoroughly. So yeah, that was the punches. Basic punch, upper, down, back, strong punch, and throws. You can throw them backwards, you can throw them forwards, and that was not a throw forward. So stand close to your opponent while you're doing either forward or back plus the fist button at the same time to do either of those throws. Let's do the kicks, shall we? Quicker walkthrough now. So this is the basic kick. Really good to put the opponents on distance. All you have to do is to press the foot button. Yes, I'm calling it the foot button, not the kick button, the foot button, because it shows a foot. So press the foot button to do the basic kick of the Legion. Then we're going to be throwing you backwards, poor guy. And just gotta switch spots again. And we're doing the upper kick. Yes, press up and the foot button to do the upper kick. Then you're going to do the down kick. Which is really good to say, hey sucker, you want to anticipate my move? Here, let me cripple your legs. Yeah, in a way, you just did. Let me just beat your legs, just kick your legs. That's the whole point of doing the lower kick. It's fast and really good to just keep your opponents at bay if they're trying to play close combat. Just do that. You can either do lower kicks or just push away your opponent whenever they're down. But lower kicks as a stance, really good to just keep your opponents close by, but looking like you want to incapacitate their knees, their foot, their legs. Then we have the back kick, which is something like, hey Tucker, you want to anticipate that I'm going to do a slow move? Well, I just gotta push you back with this kick. That's the whole idea of the back kick. The same as the Shadow Fight 2 back kick. Back and the foot button at the same time to do this kick right here. And yes, if you happen to stand foot to foot close range and you hold the kick button, you will do the kneeing. The kneeing is really good to just interrupt your opponent and make your opponent think twice about what they're doing next. Then let me throw it backwards and do the strong kick. Just hold the button, hold the foot button to do the strong kick, just like that. Then we have this kick, which is to jump and do this. Some people might say, wait, what? That sounds a little bit lame, but no. It is not that lame, because it's a good guard, and it also pushes away the opponent, just like that. All you gotta do is to press the same buttons that you jump, but in midair, press the foot button to do what I do right here. Jump, kick. Jump, kick. Just like that. Let's do it again. Press up while you're midair, and then jump, kick. We have even more variants of that, as well as this one, the knee jump kick of the Legion. Press forward jump, press forward up, and press the foot button at the same time to be able to do the forward up, and do the kneeing. So forward up plus foot at the same time to do that. You can even extend it forward. You can even extend it as much as you do with this jump and this jump. There's even an extension of that previous jump that I showed you right there, which is this kick right here. And this is really good for getting up and say, hey sucker, I just gotta jump at you and then push you a little bit farther so you can get tense. That's the purpose of the kick right here. Really good to just recover in a pretty close range while maintaining some distance between you and your enemy. Really good for corners, and follow up with some punches as well. Those are the kicks that I'm following up. Now let's show you guys special kicks. Actually, before that, no, let's show the special kicks. So this is called Stranglehold. Really good to waste the opponent's time, as well as trying to look fancy as possible towards your opponent. Maybe look like wannabe flexing. The whole point is, it's also really good along with the Basher perk, aka the stun perk, because if they get stunned in the shadow form, which I will be explaining a little bit for you guys who are familiar, you may get the idea already. If they get stunned in the shadow form, and you do Stranglehold, you wait until the stun is almost gone and you do the Stranglehold, you will waste their time. And that's what I like about this move right here. Combined with the stun ability, if you happen to stun them with your weapon, you can do this. You can stun them with a weapon when they're in the shadow form, wait a little bit, and then do the kick to just waste their time with the shadow energy. Making them feel like, oh, okay, I get it. You're wasting my shadow energy. Unless they don't see it themselves, what that is. So yeah, let's show some other moves that I do have with this. But before that, that is the ranged weapon. So if you want to throw a ranged weapon, just press the shuriken button. Pretty easy. And also, something that is quite debatable about Shadow Fight 3 is the shadow form. The new feature called shadow form, which is to press the void button whenever this blue bar is filled. You can see that the blue bar is filled both for me on the left side and for the accurate bot opponent that is standing on the right side of the screen. All you have to do is just press the button and you're entering a pretty peculiar form, you might want to say, for a short period of time. and then you get back into the real world afterward. You see flying particles right there, and then you go back to the real world. While you enter the shadow form, you are able to do special moves that you special shadow attacks, shadow abilities as they're calling it, with which is the abilities that you see up there. Shadow abilities exist in all of the gears except for common gear. And some common gear did actually have shadow abilities, but they were later removed from that weapon or gear. So there you have it. To fill it up, well, there's one way to fill it up, and that is to fight, which is to throw your ranged weapons and continue kicking, stumbling around with your opponent right here, or even get hit by your opponent. Once it gets filled up, you saw that there was blue arrows. Combine one of those blue arrows with the void button while it's glowing, and you're doing the shadow abilities. Up corresponds to the helmet, down blue arrow corresponds to the armor, and the forward blue button corresponds to the weapon that you're having. In this case, I don't have a weapon, so therefore it didn't glow. And the back blue button, the black blue arrow corresponds with the ranged weapon shadow ability. I'm going to be showing you some right here. That's one. And this is a helmet shadow ability, because I did the up one and the down one. And that is the whole circus of those shadow abilities. So now, hopefully you learned something really simple. Let's get to the real Legionnaire weapons. I showed you the kicks, I showed you the basics of the Legion. And yes, I was saying I was going to be talking about one special thing right here, and that is another Legion armor essentials. Whenever you are thrown down or get knocked down, you get up. You're getting up with your Legionnaire armor, the heavy, strong, rock-looking Legionary armor. And why is it really important? Because as you can see, whenever Dynastians or Herald armor falls on their back, they'll do the way to get up right there, which is called a kip up. If they do that, if you know they land on their backs and will kip up, they're pretty much exposed to almost whatever shadow ability, not shadow ability, any full sequence attacks that you're doing. You can do a full sequence attacks and they will be affected fully by it, no matter what. Because if you don't know, throwing your opponent backwards and they jump up like that, and they keep up like that, you are welcome to just do whatever sequence combos that you're doing. You can just do a heavy attack and they won't be blocky. Most of the times when they get up, if they get up with the stomach, if they fall down from the stomach and get up from the stomach, then you have a smaller margin to attack with a full sequence. And by that, if we're talking about the Legion, yes, they get up in a similar way as from the stomach. Even if they lay down, they just get up almost from the stomach position. And which makes them have almost no margin to where they can get fully hit by a full sequence. That's why it's essential to have the Legion armor and know this fact. Not only can't you jump through the wall, well, it makes sense that you can't wall jump, but your recovery is a way better method than the Dynastian and the Herald armor. So that's that. Let's get to the good stuff, the weapons. Actually, guys, I just forgot to do this because I said I wanted to showcase other special moves. So there we have the special move of the Legion, the special kicks, armor special move of the Legion. This is called the Colossus Steps. Really good for keeping your distance between you and your opponents as you're damaging and walking through the battlefield, the battle arena, the map that you and your opponent are in right there. Really good to maintain your distance and do that. You can even just do one kick right there, and there you go. You're already pushing your opponent away, or just do the full sequence to just walk around and maintain your distance. And for this other move that I'm going to be showing you guys is called the Battering Ram, which can be divided into 3 sequences. It's rapid on the start, and if you follow it up with the full sequence, it can do real good. It can do fast and bold looking attack to assault your opponent with brutal strength, from kicking, dashing, and hitting with the elbow to crack down the opponent as you're doing the move. You can divide to just the kick and dash, or kick, dash, and the elbow. Just like this, and the elbow. really good to just do a sequence combos as well as getting close to your opponent. Do that in a corner and you're open to do that throw and continue doing this kick right here. This might look spammable, but we're here for them good looking Legion combos that exist in the game right here. Just saying to you guys because it's part of the essentials to know it. So that's that kick. Yeah, you can even do this to just push the opponent in a short distance, or just go at him like that and you're standing in a close by distance. I mean, you can just do this. Anyways, let me show the clip of the Stampede move. That's how it works right there, because I don't have it myself. I give full credibility to that guy who made that video, and now I gave the full credibility to that guy. I borrowed it. I meant to borrow it, although I didn't ask. I want to show you the video of that guy who did the move. I didn't have it myself, so therefore I wanted to showcase that move. Anyways, let's actually, and I also put the link to the video so that you can see the move when he does it right there. Anyways, hopefully there's going to be as few as to none of those in the future videos that I make like this. It's only going to be 2 more anyways. Let's get to the weapons. For real now. So the first weapon I'll be presenting to you guys is the swords. Yes, the swords. If you like to beat people with swords, this is your chance right now to grab yourself some swords. And this is the legendary ripping kit, the weapon that I'm holding right now. This is the basic attack that I'm doing. And this is the upper attack. I'm actually spinning up through this right now, since I should be thinking that you guys are familiar. This is the back attack of the move. Let's just throw you sucker backwards. The down move. Yes, the lower attack puts the opponent in a great distance whenever you're doing this move, and can leave the opponent tense a little bit, and you can follow up with a back attack. And here comes the strong move, which has, as you can see right there, another, I might say, third essential of the Legion is, I said, unbreakable attacks. Legion has that white aura that you see in some attacks that they're doing, in some weapon attacks. And that is called temporary uninterruption interval, which is whenever this white aura activates, if they get interrupted or counterattacked by anything, any attack, they will ignore it. They won't be grunting, they won't be taking the damage animation. They will be continuing the full sequence. That's the purpose of unbreakable attacks, because the legendary weapons attacks are relatively slow and are meant to deal brutal damage. It makes sense for the game right here and now to give them this gift that they have there right here. Every single faction have their own special abilities. So that's that. Let me show you guys the special move. This is an epic special move called Grinder. And you can divide it into 1, 2, or 3 sequences. So 1, 2, or the full sequence. And yes, you can also do a close by interruption right there. You can do a close by attack just to make your opponent tense and make them reconsider for you to do another attack. Because if they anticipate a throw, you can make them tense by just doing, ha, you didn't throw me, sucker. Just like that. Let me just show you the special move again. So this is how Grinder works. Let's show you the other special moves. The spear. Yes, a really long pole weapon, classic European style of pricking your opponents. This is how we go with the spear. Basic attack. Relatively fast speed, pushes the opponent forward, just like this. I'm just gonna throw you for the next attack, which is the upper attack. This one is relatively slow. You might want to consider this during a throw, and that was the back attack, but I'm just trying to show the upper attack right there. So you can actually just step forward and do this attack, because you make a step forward and you use your pole arm to damage your opponent. Let's do the down attack, the lower attack, which is to prick your opponent down and keep a long range, just pushing them a little bit back with the weapon. Let's do the back attack. This one can be really nasty if you want to make your opponent tense. This weapon is intended to make you dodge and counter-attack your opponent. Whenever they want to anticipate a fast-looking move, you can do this to just be an annoying little bug to them. Then we have the strong move. This is really good if you want to just recover up and then just charge at them. And this weapon has a long TUI, meaning that nothing can counteract it and they have to block it or suffer damage from the move. It's gonna turn right there and do the special move. This special move is epic and it's called Bruschette, and it has a massive TUI. You can do one right there, which pushes the opponent as far as possible. You can even follow that with a heavy attack and then still go just like that, or do the full sequence. Look at that, and there we go. And I'm charging him, and you can charge him again. Just jump, kick. I'm doing example gameplay right here while this AI is not doing stuff. Charge forward, and then I hit you with that, and now you got hit. And I charge you up with this. I roll and it starts pricking you with the spear. Example gameplay. I prick you down and then I go up. I do this. I throw a ranged weapon. I charge you with this. And do up. Yeah, basic example gameplay. Let's get to the other special moves that I have. And this next move, it's called Snake Bite. It's a really rapid biting attack that you use towards your opponent to deal a brutal damage and make them maybe stunned for a little bit while they're watching their character get stung or just pricked by this jumping attack at their opponent. You can just do one attack, looking like a wild jumping Indianic person, a madman, or just follow up with the full sequence for the full sequence of attack right there. Sample gameplay while I play in the stream with this, just shown right here. Just do like this, and I charge forward and do this weapon special move right there. Now, there's a legendary special move for this weapon called Impalement. I'm going to be showing you right there. Right, let's move it on. Let's move on to the next weapon. And the third weapon that I'll be showcasing you guys is hammers. The real brutal strength may come into wielding heavyweight weapons and swinging that around towards your enemy. Now let's show you the basic movements. So this is the basic movement, and you can also hear a distinct damage noise when you make this weapon. And yes, this is with Basher. You now see the Basher animation. You can divide it into 1 or 2 sequences. Really good to be a little annoying bug to your opponent right there. So I'm just gonna do it again. Here comes the upper attack, relatively slow, but when you activate it, be sure to hope that you cover a little bit range and may want to anticipate your opponent. It maintains a little bit your distance, although it pushes your opponent in a small distance right there. Next up, it's a lower attack, the lower attack of the hammer. You can use this if you get up in a mid-range and then get at your opponent with that attack right there. Really good to push away your opponent in a similar way, but pushes your opponent away further with this weapon right there. Here comes the back move of this weapon. It doesn't have a TUI, but it's meant to be really fast and also another push away attack. So many of these hammer attacks are meant to push away. Not many of them are actually meant to. Not many of the hammer attacks are actually meant to be an offensive. This weapon might be to just put yourself in a close range. And just do like that, and then follow up with another move. Let's do the strong move, which is to charge forward with the hammer and cover a good range while you're dealing the brutal damage, but beware the recovery rate. It is a bit slower, and if you do that in a corner, you will get exposed to whatever attack the opponent will try to do at you. The weapon itself comes with only one special move, which I fortunately have, which is called the Retribution, which is to simply do this. That's how it moves. Let me throw you backwards and do this. That's how it moves. So I can divide it to 1, 1, 2, or the full sequence whenever I desire to. Example of hammer gameplay coming up right now, which is to basically try to put the opponents away. With the fact that you're putting the opponents away, it might be just a good call to use the down attacks a little bit and charge forward with the heavy attack. Might want to anticipate using that kick that I just did right there, although I missed. but you might as well give it a go. Put your opponent away, throw on you with that, and jump, cover range. Continue with the lower attacks. You might want to anticipate when they are going at you with, for example, rolling waves, and I'll show you what that is in a little later on. Just anticipate by swinging the golf, just right there. So that was all for the hammers. Let's move on to the next weapon. Fourth weapon I'm going to be showcasing you is the axes. Yes, I show you guys that there's quite a bit of weapons that are out there, but it's up to you to pick your style, your fight, your style. The developers have kept that motto. The downside to this thing is there's 3 weapons that have the same moveset as the one I'm about to show right now, and this is the one they're showing off that shares with 3 weapons: the axes, and maces, and as well as hammers. So let me get straight to it. So this is what they all have in common: a basic move that moves like this. You can divide to 1 or 2 attacks, and the upper attack also have a small sequence. Oh, that was not the attack I was supposed to do. You can divide to 1 or 1, 2 to shop around like that. Downer attack, the lower attack is really good to make your opponent tense. If they anticipate to just jump at you, you just keep them down. Or if you just, in an instant like this, you can just push them back with the weapon. And that can be good followed with the big fella back attack. The back attack, which is used to be an aggressive slasher with the axe, hammers, and maces. Really good to put in a corner right there and then show your opponent. The strong attack is really good to charge at your opponent, anticipate their range, and covers a decent good range on the enemy right there. The axis actually shares several special moves. It actually shares 2 special moves, which I both have. This one is called I think I kind of forgot what it's called. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the vicious. Anyways, Silver Squall, I think it was called. No, that's a weapon name. Anyways, that's the one special move for the axis right there. So you can divide it to 1 or 2, or even if you want to add that extra slash up there. That's the axis. Now let me show you the other special move of the axis. This next special move I'm going to be showing you, which only exists in axis, is called Shop Till Drop. And it moves like this. Just like that. You can divide it to 1, 2, or 3 sequence. Just pay attention. You won't be landing that animation if you hit with that animation, the third animation. If you hit with the third animation, you will be continuing the sequence and making it look like a really brutal slasher with the axis. A nice way to show off the legendary brutality with axis in this way right there. Just like that. They have really good attacks. Don't worry, they might come by with even more attacks, but this is the current setup that we all have right now. Let's showcase you the other 2 variants that I've been talking about. Explain them a little bit more. Just to explain to you guys, the maces actually have the same idle animation starter as the hammers, and they also have the same attacks as I told you, just to prove it. So this is the maces, the only maces available, because the developers are still developing these new weapons that are coming by, and whenever they come by, I will be previewing them, and much more later I will be maybe doing another one of these videos to you guys, but just not with the including the orientation of everything, and just get straightforward to all the moves that exist and maybe just explain them by mouth, but just showing you guys that this weapon has the same attacks as I told you. The upper attack is the same, the basic attack is the same, you can do a close by attack, upper attack is the same, lower attack is the same, and the strong attack is the same. It's just the different size of the weapon that may depend on the hitbox range with the weapon. And it shares the same benefit, it shares the same special move and stance as the hammers, like I said. Let's get to the hammers to prove it. Yes, the hammers. Yes, as you can see, I've proven myself right, and that the hammers also have the same animations as the axes and the maces. they have 3 weapons, which kind of confuses me because I was thinking every single one of the weapon will have a different move. But there's an example of how we play with either of those weapons, although they have special moves that are different. Axes and the hammers have different special moves, and therefore they make a little difference in that character right there. The only moves that actually makes a difference after all. I don't know if the developers are actually considering to update and actually make a difference between all of those attacks. Of course they do it with their weapons, but maybe they need some unique aspects and character to their old attacks, or maybe they just consider them to have shared commodity, despite for being a dual-handed lightweight-ish weapons. These are heavy ones. Anyways, that was the rare special attack. You can even do this attack, divide it into two attacks with that sequence that you just seen right there. You could do one or the full sequence, and I think this was called, I forgot the name again, dang it. Anyways, move to the next move of this hammer, and the secondary move that I'm going to be showing you guys is the Nutcracker, and it moves like this. So you can divide it into 1, 2, I said 2, that was not 2, that was a back move, 2 or 3. Yes, the game likes to divide it, and it might be using the division of these attacks strategically. Really good to be brutal, as the legionaries usually like to be, and as well as putting your opponent in a distance. Or if you want to divide the sequence, you can use this to get close, or use 2 attacks to just still get close, or the third attack to push the opponent far away. And this other weapon that I'm showing you is the two-handed sword with its own stand and its own knight-looking glory. We're going to be showing you the basic moves. That is the basic attack, 1 or 2. The up attack is really good for a guarding stance. If you're anticipating the opponent to try to do an dashing attack at you, you can just protect yourself with this rapid move. You can even just throw them down like this and push them away with this move, just like that. The down attack is really good to smack on their toes, to slash on their foot, or in this case the leg. Really good to also try to dodge some of the smaller ranged weapons that the opponent might throw at you. The back attack is really good to just go at the opponent with the TOI, the good TOI the attack itself has. You can even do one sequence to try to get close to the opponent, if I'm not mistaken right here. So you one, if you just do it again, you just still try to get close to your opponent while you're doing other attacks. The strong attack is really good for a guarding stance, and also for maybe just standing in the mid-range and trying to push the opponent as far away as possible. Let's get down to the special move, which is, this one is called Maelstrom, and it works in a spinning sword attack, shows really heavy damage towards your opponent, and can be really convenient for a really good range. It covers a really long range, if I'm not mistaken. It can cover this range. You can divide it into 2 sequences, as I said, the one sequence over there, and the second sequence right there. And for the second move that I'm going to be showing you is the Guillotine. It is a straightforward charge at the opponent with the two-handed sword, and dealing insane, good looking damage, heavy damage towards your opponent. You can divide it to just one attack to push your opponent away, or go at them with the full attack, just like that. It's really good for showing your strength as you're holding your sword. And the third special move that I'll be showing you is the Stinger Stab. It works like this and does a slow stab at the end, the Stingray Stab. And yes, the sword itself can do a close by attack just like that. It's really rapid, and the special move can be divided into 1 to slash your opponent from far away, 2 to slash even more opponent from far away, or just do the full sequence. Just beware, you actually have to hit with the full sequence, or if you actually have to knock down with the first attack like they did right there, you can just straightforward go at them with the third attack. Although not recommended for quarters because they will leave you exposed to other attacks right there. Let me show you the example with the sword though, although I didn't show it in the previous gameplay. Just gotta do this and then follow up with that, kick forward and then anticipate my opponent's attack, just doing it like this. Then I'm just gonna do kick, throw, cover a lot of range and then throw a spear, do this, charge my opponent, because all about varying my attacks. And in case my opponents want to anticipate, I will always like to do the lower attack in that case. Anyways, next weapon. No, I'm being too early, okay? The third special move that I have for this sword available is called the Caveman's Rage. And it moves like this. Lift the sword and then you're half swording with the two other strikes. So you're hitting with a handle in the next two strikes. You can divide it in 3 sequences into just swording like this and then half swording. No, actually it's divided into 2 sequences. My apology right there. So it can be divided into 2 sequences. Just like that. So you can either just slash up with the sword to still keep your distance while you're close, or push them a little bit away with the sword right there, with the half swording. So you slice up and then you move around with the sword. Let me just do it one more time to see how it all works. And don't get stunned while it happens. So yeah, it pushes away the opponent if you're doing the maximum distance. And for the weapon that I'm going to show you is the one-handed sword. Yes, we have two-handed sword and now we have the one-handed sword. Pretty quick and simple. We can do the basic attack like this. Really good to push away the enemy and also keep maintaining your own distance. If you just want to push your enemy and just maintain your distance, that's completely up to you. We can do the up attack, which is completely meant to push away the enemy. We can just show it again. The down attack is really excellent for ducking a little bit. You can duck the small projectiles that are being thrown around while you're counter-attacking and punishing your enemy with this down move. The back attack is really good for dodging the enemy's attempt, and as well as counter-attacking. You can use this for counter-attacking the enemy's anticipation of their movement. So if you just get close and I do this, if the enemy were, for example, to try to attack me at this range and I do this, if they attack, they will get counter-attacked by that. Just so you guys are aware. And the strong attack looks pretty similar as the hammer's strong attacks. The hammer's access makes a strong attack. It is really, yeah, it is pushing away the enemy just like that. And for special moves of this weapon, we have Avalanche, which can also be divided into 1 or 2, and are really great for getting close by, or just knock down the enemy straight line like that. Use it to close by and push the enemy far away, or attack and still push the enemy a little bit, but you're actually getting close to your enemy while using the full sequence. And the next special move is called Avalanche. Not Avalanche, I meant Steep Dive. This is the Steep Dive. It is just to prick your opponent downwards at the opponent and then slash down. Really good to get close by, or just push the opponent a little bit more away, or do the full sequence and push the opponent a little bit farther away. Let me just do one more try and show it right here. So push it a little bit away. And that was a critical hit. What the frick? Or push the opponent far away. This is the weapon that shows and represents the glory, and probably the weapon that turns itself into the weapon mascot of the Legion. It's the giant sword, weighing 100 pounds and being the slowest weapon in the game. You have to learn it and practice with its own attacks. All of the attacks except for the basic one have a TUI on them, and I'm showing you right now what they are. For being the slowest weapon, it shows the strong damage, the strong and overpowering damage the weapon can do while you're still carrying this heavy weapon. Although you can even jump with the weapon, and you see how the character holds it. But let's put aside that vision right now. The upper attack is really good for just guarding around, for guard stance. Really good for a guard stance. If you anticipate your opponent's attacks, you can do an upper attack to make sure that if they do a move, then they're going to get hit by that. You can also do a close by attack, and this is probably the fastest. This is probably the fastest close by weapon attack that I've seen on the Legionnaire weapons. We also have, hold on, just wait for it. You can also do this, the lower attack. This is the lower attack, the straightforward down attack. And also, by the way, the weapon itself cannot be made combos unless you combine it with kicks or only do the special move that are provided. One special move that are provided to do 3 combo. Other than that, there's no way you can make a combo with the weapon because the cooldown for the combos are too big for this weapon to even handle like 2 of the basic attacks. You may want to follow up with this, and maybe this will make a 3 combo. Yes, it does. So, but it's very hard then. It's very hard then to make a combo with the weapon. Like if you want some combos to make an earning, this weapon is just too slow for many of its possible combinations that it has right there. Let's do the strong attack. Nice and easy, covers a good range and pushes the opponent away while they're stuttering around with going backwards. There's 2 there's 2 attacks for this weapon, and that one is this. Yes, that is called the finisher, and it just looks like you're being heavy lifting and then tossing that weight into your opponent. A really good way to show that you're a good weightlifting player while tossing around the weight just like that. You can divide it into 1 or the full sequence of this weapon. It's called a finisher for the fact that you make the opponent severely damaged by the first slash, and then you attack and finish up with the second slash right there. Let's move on to the final weapon, which is the 10th weapon of the Legion faction. Never mind, okay. For real, after this one, because the giant sword has another special move which is called the power swing. And this one is much faster in the beginning than the finisher. Let me show you right here. You can divide it to 1, which is to just get you close to your opponent, or 2, if to push your opponent a little bit far but keep the close range, or do the full sequence to push them even further, just like this, and pushing them even further. Wow, that sucker just got knocked out. Let me just show it on the clear range right here so you can see the power of the power swing. And as you can see, the opponent is put in a farther range. You have to know about that. You have to know about this because different weapons have a different way, but it's not the weapons. It might be the animation that is played to where the opponents are pushed far. So yeah, for an example of a gameplay right here, I would do it like this and guard up, do a heavy. The weapon is specially not designed for corners, so I would like to avoid as many giant sword attacks as attacking to the corner, and always be opening in the arena, since this weapon relies on a lot of range and anticipation onto the opponent's next move. But you're still able to play with the giant sword. It would be a lot interesting to play with the giant sword in the PvP, just to see how that works. Anyways, let's roll for real to the next weapon. The final weapon I'll be showing to you guys is the one futuristic weapon that is introduced to the Shadowfight tree, called the Flail and Shield, which is actually shield attached to your arm wrist, and you swing around with a heavy flail to deal damage to your enemy while you're defending. This weapon has a massive TUI in all of their attacks except for one, and with its own special move, it can look devastating. Let me show you guys real quick. So this is the basic attack, which looks like you're rushing like a maniac while swinging with the flail. Yes, it makes a lot of sense for the part. And let's throw you around to let you open for other moves. Upper attack is really good to just make the opponent calm down from trying to look really fast and grump and greedy with all of these fast attack they may have. This is a really good guard stance for that. It gives good TOI, good TOI with a slash upwards, just like that. The down attack is good to throwing. It's actually a throwing attack. If you hit with this, you can throw your opponents. You're crashing with the shield and lifting your opponent up and knocking them down, just like that. Let me do it again. And the back attack is as defensive as a knight might want to rush it. Just activate the shield and bash with it along with that with the flare right there. The heavy attack is to make the opponent look tense at long range. This attack right here will cover a good amount of range. Believe me when I'm doing this. Yeah, it covers good range, and that attack right there when I missed, yeah, that was just inches. But it covers a good range, really good if you're pushing your opponent far away with this weapon. And as I said, it has only one special move, which is the banishing, and works like this. So you can divide into one, which is going to do a stance and push the opponents a little bit off, or just make an open area. Just lift up the shield and I knock down the opponent. But if I don't do it, you're pushing your opponent far away, while you're still pushing your opponent with this move, but you're just making sure they're going to get pushed a little bit further. Or do the full sequence. Fully possible. Now I'll show an example gameplay with this thing. I like to just put your opponent afar with right there and throw a range. May jump at the opponent and not recommend it that much with banishing right there. Maybe I smack around with the shield, jump at him, push them a little bit far, and maybe you just want to go forward and throw this guy around doing this. And then go a little bit closer, do this move, and you can also follow with the basic move for them to suffer a little bit more damage. And yes, this crashing move can cover a decent range, a close by range. You still have to attack close by, but you still can do it, and you get a good looking throw, which you can follow up with a basic attack, and you push them quite far with this. If you anticipate it, just go ahead and do the heavy attack. It also makes you step a little bit closer to your enemy. Well, that's all of the weapons covered. I hope you guys did actually make it right here, because oh my, that had been a long record. I actually been recording for 1 hour, if you guys believe it or not, for this video to be filled with a lot of information with weapons and moves. But we still have some more to cover, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is the shadow abilities of the Legion. Let's roll them all. The Legionnaires in the rare collection can do the bash and can also do a choke shadow ability. And I didn't bring my ranged weapon, which I will be doing at ASAP, but not now. I'm showing the armor right there. Let's get on to the epic gear. Oh, that's unique. I didn't notice that, guys. You didn't notice that? Oh, that's another thing to know. So apparently, this armor with its steel fists has a different intro, has a different posing than with other Legion gear. I just noticed that by now. Well, that's pretty interesting. So with the Cuirassier armor with the steel fist, you have this knock and showing off your will to fight right there. Anyways, let's show the shadow abilities. So the first one is spikes. Really good to become a porcupine, and you can even follow that as a good combo with the freaking, what is it called? Uppercut. This is called uppercut. And as for the legendary ones, we have Todd and Pivot, as it's called. Throws the enemy around like a mad gorilla, just like that. You can even do that after you exited the shadow form. Now, there's actually some catches between the legendary weapons, because the legendary weapon Warlord's Plates has spike shadow ability, whilst the Liquidator's helmet has uppercut, because they haven't updated the shadow abilities to have the same share, the legendary variant of shadow ability for the armor. But the Legion has their unique variants for it. So therefore, maybe the developers are working on unique ones for Dynastian and for Herald in the future. We will be looking for that. Let's take a look at the ranged weapon shadow abilities. Actually, well, humans make mistakes and forgets about their steps. Well, they have different kinds of ranged weapons. Legion has different kinds of ranged weapons. So let's round it up right there and just continue with the shadow abilities with the ranged weapons. So you actually place a giant bear trap. And well, this is the only looking giant mouth that just goes in right there, and then whenever the opponent walks into it, they get bitten by it. And you can even place it at the opponent's down position. You can even just place one right there and just make them clamp onto the opponent. And shadow ability is a giant creature that gets up and brings down the opponent, drags down the opponent, just like that. And also, to finish it up, I think it is to explain the sets, because these sets are existing now. So we have the Liquidator set, which is to drain your enemy shadow ability, the shadow energy bar. Every hit you do with your weapon or the ranged weapon will drain your enemy shadow bar. It doesn't work with kicks. Only the weapon and the ranged weapon will drain your shadow energy. And if your opponent's shadow energy is down to 0, you deal double damage. We also have, let's get down filter, condensing eraser, which is to block your attack, which is about to block and counter attack to charge up the shadow bar. It says right here, recharge the ability by hitting your opponent. And here comes a pretty good looking one for many of the players right there, the Abdicator, which I have. If I run out of health, I have a secondary chance. I become an angel with wings and deal double damage to my opponent. I can even go to shadow form while having those wings on, but it's going to be staying there for like 10 seconds. Yes, it says 10 seconds. So those are the sets out there. I hope you guys did learn a lot. It's been a really long video. It's been an hour of recording. Actually, to be honest, to make it clear, I actually been recording 2 times. I tried to record 2 times, but they all got interrupted by several calls and warnings. But I finally managed to reach it at this point. So hope you guys did enjoy this video right here, the long struggle that I'll be making, as well as the well-planned, especially on the thumbnail. If you did enjoy this long video of me explaining the Legion faction and want me to do the Dynasty faction, which is going to come by no matter what. If you want me to do that video, be sure to hit the like button and also subscribe if you're new and enjoy the overall content that I'll be making. I'll be welcoming Shadowfire 3, and I'm going to be just showing you guys the ways to play it with the weapons, the skills, and the perk spells combined together. You become the real strong warrior out in the field. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, and I hope you guys catch you guys next time. Bye bye.